So I'm going to demonstrate to you a song that everybody knows and has heard it a million times. And I'm going to play it two different ways, and you tell me if you can tell what the difference is. That's the first style. Now hear it play the second way. So, I'm sure you already noticed, first of all, I know you know the song, but secondly, you know what I just did. And that was, I used vibrato the second time, creating a whole multitude of different kinds of sounds and different kinds of flavors of sound. Vibrato is a very important part of violin playing. It is kind of the way the violin starts to resonate and change colors. And can be used in all kinds of different music, and there's different flavors of it. So what I'm going to teach you, first of all, is how to do vibrato. Vibrato is a very, very sort of hard thing to learn, and if it's not learned properly at the first try or the second try, or when you learn it improperly, it's kind of hard to undo the damage that you've done. So I really encourage you all to learn vibrato properly right from the get-go, because a lot of times I see a lot of my students that come in for camps or whatnot, that they have a sort of like a twitch, that it's uncontrollable. That is not vibrato. Please understand, it's not vibrato. That is just sort of a muscular spasm, unfortunately. Vibrato is a very, very controlled motion done with the left hand. So, how do you do vibrato? Well, there's 3 different ways to do vibrato. And they say there's 3. I think there's probably not 3, but there are 3 ways that people assume that you do it. 1 from the finger, 1 from the wrist, and 1 from the arm. I would submit to you that those 3, generally, yes, those are ways that the finger vibrates on the note and creates sound. However, sometimes I use maybe 2 of those 3, if not, or 3 of those 3, depending on what is being played. When I do vibrato, I definitely want the finger to roll back and forth and rock up and down. That's a basic idea of what the finger does. Now, how do I do that? Well, I try to start, first of all, in learning to get the finger to move up and down, and sort of to let it stand up where it's flexed, to then where it's flat. Up, flexed, down, flat. Up, down. And just do it with the finger, just to start, just to feel it. Put your hand in 3rd position and move and rock the finger back and forth. That's a good start just to get the feel of it. And you can just do it with the metronome. So essentially I'm rocking the finger back and forth. But if you notice, I'm not just rocking the finger, I'm actually moving the knuckle back and forth using a little bit of my wrist. So in essence, I'm not just using the finger. So basically it's a wrist motion when you start it in 3rd position with your heel of your hand up against the body of the violin. So I would just start there with the metronome, with each finger, and release this part of your hand from the neck of the violin, because then you might start to squeeze and do extra motions that are unnecessary. And then 3rd finger, and 4th finger. When you do vibrato, I try to use each finger independently. Sometimes with the 3rd and 4th finger, I will support the finger with the other finger just to give it a little strength. But generally speaking, I rock the finger back and forth independently and feeling that there's lots of freedom there from the fingerboard. Once we get that, next step is to figure out how to do that with adding a little bit arm to kind of add a little bit more sort of ease to the motion where it doesn't feel so rigid. That being said, I have many colleagues that use strictly just the wrist back and forth. I also have colleagues that use a lot of arm, like me. I use more arm and some wrist and finger all together, and I use a combination of Sometimes when I'm playing, I will just use the wrist. So I have a little bit sort of flexibility with all three of those. So what I would also learn then is how to knock with the hand back, and I would actually knock the peg of your E string a little bit, and knock where the hand knocks backwards at first, and just feel that. And you can even do it without, you can knock at a door or knock at a wall, just feeling that motion where the bicep is being extended, arm is being extended with bicep and back and forth. This is just a basic motion. Then we put the finger down and we start rocking the finger back and forth. So I call it rock and knock. Knock the peg and rock the finger back and forth. And I need you to do it very, very methodically and metronomically. We never want to do it erratically. That is where bad vibrato comes from, erratic motions that are not constant with a metronome. That's just basic vibrato. As we get into more sophisticated vibrato, we will learn a little bit more of how to sort of make it more subtle and make it more sort of sounding like a sung voice as opposed to just a back and forth metronomic motion.